Hey everyone, it's Ivan with KitBatcher.com, here today to talk about cover, concealment, and shooting through obstacles. Briefly, quick overview, cover and concealment. What is cover? Well, cover is something that can stop bullets, and it doesn't mean it is permanently cover. So there's a lot of things that will stop bullets. Armored cars, bulletproof glass, yes, they will stop bullets. Eventually, if you shoot them enough, depending on caliber, they will no longer be cover. Bullets will go through them. So cover is something that will stop bullets. Again, it may or may not be good cover, and it may or may not last forever. But then you have concealment. A door in your house. It's probably a hollow core door. It is concealment. Bullets will travel through that, but it conceals you behind it, or someone, or something for that matter. Bushes and stuff like that. Yes, they will obscure you, and so to that end, it is concealment, but no, bullets will pass through them. It is not cover, it is concealment. What about a tree? Well, a tree is probably cover, depending on the caliber. So cover and concealment, looking at stopping bullets versus not stopping bullets, more or less just obscuring your target or something along those lines. So with that in mind, cover and concealment, what happens when you're shooting at a target that's obscured? The reason I bring it up is it came up the other day. I was out doing some training with my buddy, Bill Rapier of AMTAC Shooting, as well as Jake Hoback, Hoback Knives. Went up, set up a bunch of steel all through some pretty densely forested area, a lot more so than this behind me. And after getting all that stuff set up, like where you have to actually seek out like pistol and rifle targets through it, started doing some runs. So I will go ahead and show you those runs, and I will touch on some takeaways.
Stand by. Hit. 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 See it?
Rifle?
Yep, rifle straight ahead. Hit. All around it. Just keep holding on it. Shift over just a little bit. Hit. Got some more. Just keep looking through the trees. You'll see them. There you go. Hit. bigger one. Hit. Get on it. Get on that same one again.
That right there was my first run, and I believe the third run ever of anyone going through and actually shooting it with rifle, carbine, pistol, whatever, 5.56. And with that, yeah, there were definitely some points where I was like, okay, breathing hard, like trying to get on target. There was a little bit of that, but there was also a lot of obstructions. And in part, I ended up smoothing it out a little more on that next run. I was shooting this Arsenal Democracy ACSS 1-6 primary arms, and on that second one, after running it first on 1X, I went ahead and turned it up to 2, giving me just a little bit of magnification. While that did help, you'll see in a second, like some of the hits weren't there. So here was my second run through that.
Rifle far. Long rifle. Two into each head. Pistol targets right in front of you. Shift right, see the other one. pistol targets right in front of you. Here, you'll have to call that one yourself. In between the trees. More. Nice. Good job, man.
Guys are like, Ivan, why are you missing, bro? Well, one, because I'm human, and two, because little stuff like this. So when you're shooting and a projectile leaves your barrel, rifle, pistol, whatever it is, if you have someone using concealment, i.e. this is in front of your target, you know what? If the round ends up impacting this, like dead on, just nicks it, whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's going to continue past into your target. Well, was that happening? No, because there were all kinds of trees, super dense forest up there, a bunch of different cedars, everything like that, deadfall, all kinds of stuff. So there's all kinds of trees, all kinds of little limbs coming down, and sometimes you'd fire and you'd see little limb move, and 20, 30, 50 yards past that, you would definitely not see a round impacting your point of aim. So if you're sitting there aimed in, keep in mind these aren't like massive IPSC targets or anything like that. The rifle ones, for example, it's basically about the size of an A box on a IPSC, like just that piece. And then there's also head pieces, which, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 inch square. And so those are the two rifle targets we're shooting like throughout this entire course. Not huge targets, but like good realistic targets as far as targeting goes. So running into the problem, there's all kinds of branches going through. And so if you end up shooting your projectiles coming out, and like I said, if this is 50, 100, 200 yards away in front of your target, it doesn't matter. It's still going to impact. But when it makes contact with something, even something relatively small, and it still has a long ways to travel, one, it can either start to yaw, or it can actually deform the bullet, which will destabilize it. And yeah, big picture, you do not end up with your bullet where you had intended it to go. So that is a very real thing. Why do I bring this up? Because knowing's half the battle. What can we do about this? A couple different things. On the one hand, if you are out there and you're shooting and you are not getting those hits and there are obstructions between you and the target, probably even closer towards you than the target. Because again, if there's some concealment and the target is right behind it, you're probably still gonna get hits. So one of the things we can do, again, if you can self-diagnose and you're like, okay, cool, I'm on target, slow, steady squeeze, like that should have impacted, change elevation. So you're here, drop down a little bit. Sometimes that's all it takes. What else can we do? Something we should always do. Shoot for a desired effect. Until you get that desired effect, continue shooting. Because what will usually happen is you will chew through stuff. On that first run, I didn't even finish the whole run, and I went through 2 magazines, which was all I had on my person. 60 rounds. Granted, I know I shanked some of those, but a lot of them were basically chewing through branches. And yeah, shoot until you get that desired effect. There it is, shoot, 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 and continue shooting until you end up impacting. Or if you need to, again, same thing with changing elevation, just change your angle some and maybe you won't have as many obstructions. But that is a real thing. If you are hitting even like seemingly like ridiculously small stuff like pine needles and stuff, depending on how close it is to you and then how much further that bullet has to travel, it will throw it off. What about bullet composition? Personally, I was shooting some 55 grain Frontier through this. Don't remember what Jake was shooting, and then Bill was shooting some 62 grain Black Hills. We all dealt with it. None of them were magic bullets that would just punch through and continue onto their target. Are there bullets that can do that out there? Possibly. I was talking to a buddy, Joshua, over at G9 Bullets. They make some amazing stuff. A lot, honestly, isn't even for sale on the civilian market. And I was talking to him about this incident and yeah, essentially shooting through concealment as well as cover with some of their bullets. And he had mentioned something that may actually help one of the bullet designs that they have. So eventually I will probably put in some time, maybe try some of those out. But in my experience, being limited with respect to the amount of bullets, if you end up shooting something and it hits it up close, depending on how far that target is, it will not impact. So solutions are change angles, change elevation, basically open up that lane, or continue shooting till you get the desired effect. But if you have any experience with it, let me know. I'm kind of curious. And as always, thanks for joining us at KitBadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.
All systems to stop right here, so we are as pretend. So many things could be a mystery.